We just finished our book study on Keep the Lights Burning Abbie, and I just want to walk you through of what we've done and the craft that we made. So we got this book from the library. It seems like it's an old book, so I'm not even sure if it's readily available on Amazon or something like that, but we got this from the library. So the first thing that we did was actually not reading the book. We talk about the cover. So we made some predictions. So she predicted what the story was about. Sorry for the noise in the background. And then I also asked her if she had any question just looking at the cover. So I printed this cover and got it from Google, and I put it on in her notebook. And then I wrote it down for her because she doesn't like writing a lot yet. So that's the first thing we did. And then the second thing we did was we started working on our craft. So this is the craft that we made. So the first thing that we did was we made this background first. We did watercolor painting on a watercolor paper. So this is, just a land. We painted a land and then the water and with white caps on the waves and also a dark sky. And then we worked on our lighthouse. So at the top of the lighthouse in the watching room, I made her find 6 nouns since we are learning about nouns in our grammar. So I asked her to find nouns in the book, and she did, and she wrote it down. And then we did a summary using somebody wanted but so then. She wrote all of this. So she wrote Abbie wanted her father not to go to town, but he had to, and she had to keep the lights. So during storms, she had to go up and down the steps at the lighthouse, and then her father came back with supplies and she could have a break. So that's what she wrote. And then we did a character analysis. We talk about her character traits and we wrote it down here. And she colored this. And then we talked about, I asked her to find 2 words that she did not understand and wanted to find in the dictionary, which she did. So this one, she shortened the definition from the library because it's just too long. And then for this one, she wrote her own definition. She said she already understood what white caps are, and she gave me her own definition and it sounded right. So I let her do that. She doesn't quite enjoy finding things in the dictionary, so I didn't want to push her, so I just asked her to do 2 words. And this book is actually pretty easy. It doesn't have too many big words. And then we did cause and effect. We did a little craft here on the cloud. So the cause, and then you flip it and you see the effect. So she wrote down the effect, and on this one she wrote down the cause, and then the effect was already given. And then this one she wrote down the cause, and then the effect was already given. So that's what we did for this book, and then we ended it with a copy work. I chose this passage because it has quotation mark and it has commas and also contractions. So we talked about how when someone says something, what they say has to be in a quotation mark and it follows by a comma after, after a sentence, a comma, and then she said. And then we talked about when we're listing nouns, more than 2, that there are commas and then followed by an N on the very last one. And then we talk about contraction, apostrophe contractions. So we talk about that. So then she copied that. And then we also talked about a Bible verse, Matthew 5 verse 14. We talk about how we are the lighthouse. We are the light of the world as a Christian. And if the lighthouse does not have lights, some boats and some ships will be in danger and they will hit big rocks and they can die. And there's actually a hymn that we learned not too long ago called Let Your Lower Lamps Be Burning. So we learned about the story behind that song not too long ago, so this is quite fitting. Now I wanted her to trace and then to write and to copy, but she doesn't really like doing that. So she asked if she could just copy and not write, and so I let her do that. So yeah, so this is what we did for this book study. And if you want to do a book study on this and make it more fun by doing a craft, I will upload my all this template so you can follow along. And this is a nice change than just doing bookwork like this, you know. So this is a nice change, something that hands-on, her hands can work, and not just thinking and not just handwriting, but you know, something creative. So that's why I decided to do a little bit crafty for this one, and it's quite fitting. So, and everything just work together very well. So if you want to follow along, I will put this up on my Buy Me a Coffee, and so you can do this on your own with your children. All right, and that's all I have for you today, and I hope that's inspiring to you and helpful for you. Until next time, have a good day.